I'm recording, Dave. So, first name, last name, and title of the band you have.
It's Dave Deering, and the band is Dave Deering, Mainstream Jazz Duo.
Terrific. And I know you were a media producer at the University of Texas, San Antonio, but you are also a musician. So, a little bit about your background.
Oh, yeah, I've been a musician all my life and have been gigging professionally since 1980. And I am now full-time musician and educator. I'm on the faculty at San Antonio College, and I teach trombone and tuba, as well as euphonium, the little tuba. And I teach students privately. I have one-on-one lessons. I had 14 students last year, so 14 classes. And I also play around town with my mainstream jazz duo. And I play in the Victoria Symphony Orchestra. We put on 5 concerts a year. And I also have substituted in the San Antonio Symphony and the San Antonio Philharmonic on bass trombone.
Wow, you
So
might as well have been a full-time musician then with all of those accomplishments.
everything works out well. You know, if you have patience and you work hard at it, yeah, good things come to you.
Yeah. So you're well qualified to talk about Vince Guaraldi and explain a little bit to listeners who Vince Guaraldi was.
I first discovered Vince Guaraldi when I was I had a shift on the radio station in college, and it was an all jazz station, and a good friend of mine uh, was an Italian guy, and he would have this festival of music every Christopher Columbus Day. And so he would have a program of all Italian big jazz artists who were of Italian descent, people like Conte Candoli, Frank Rosolino, and Vince Guaraldi. And so that's when I said, well, who's Vince Guaraldi? He told me, he said, he's a guy that did all the music for the Peanuts specials. I said, oh my goodness, you know. But of course, he had a fantastic career in jazz, starting in the early '50s, and so he played a lot of that music, and I got to know it and love it. And my favorite recording is actually the first album that he released was the Vince Guaraldi Trio, and it featured Eddie Duran on guitar and really great bass player Dean Riley, and it was just the three of them, just Vince Guaraldi on piano, Eddie Duran on guitar, and Dean Riley on bass, no drummer. And they just really made it swing. And you know, all the rhythm was there, and they did some just fantastic, some original music and some covers of some great jazz standards. One of my favorite is one called "It's Still Lovely," and they kind of close the album with that, and actually it kind of starts off sounding like the Charleston dance.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go into this really up-tempo version of this really great tune called "It's Still Lovely." So really, really great, attractive trio, and just obviously fantastic playing by Vince Guaraldi on piano.
Yeah, it's an interesting you said that because I've been teaching an Ingmar Bergman class, and we noted that there is no soundtrack. And in a way, it was nicer because we could be much more involved with what was going on.
Yeah.
And I knew a composer, and he said in film and TV, the music tells the story, but we didn't have to worry about that watching Ingmar Bergman movies. But so it's interesting that you say that there was no drummer. And as I listened to Guaraldi, I noticed that, and in a way, it's more soothing without the drums sort of pushing you along.
Yeah, it's just a different texture, you know. And then if there is no drummer in a situation like that, then the bassist and the guitarist kind of take over. They take over the duties of the drum, and but then they have, of course, their own role to fill as well. So
Yeah.
that's very much what happens in my duo, because there's no drummer in my duo.
Mm-hmm.
It's Polly Harrison playing jazz guitar, I play bass, and between the two of us, we have that rhythm. We lock into the rhythm, but we're also providing the chords and the bass line. So it's a kind of a different texture, but it works. It can still swing. And then, of course, when you add the drummer, that's another texture, and that works terrifically, too, as well.
Yeah.
Guaraldi had a second trio, and he had a trio with Fred Marshall and Jerry Granelli, and that's your typical classic piano-bass drums trio. And so
Uh-huh.
when he got into his later recordings early on in his career, it was that setup.
That's interesting. You're telling me many things about a musician I don't know much about. I just know the music is so wonderful and
Yeah,
soothing.
yeah.
Um, y-
Guaraldi had great success. This was in San Francisco in the early 50s, and of course just a great scene there. But Guaraldi himself also uh, sent out some other projects, and one of the famous ones was a tune that he wrote, and it was called "Cast Your Fate to the Wind."
mhm.
And that, if you heard that, you would realize that you do know it. It's a very, very popular tune, and it blew up.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
so this was the it was supposed to be the B side of a single that he released that had Samba de Orfeu, which is a very famous kind of a Latin samba. But what was the DJs flipped it over to the B side, and he won a Grammy Award because the chart peaked out at number 22, an uncommon achievement for jazz.
Wow.
And the DJs just loved it, and so it's very, very famous song as well that he did.
Yeah, the days and, about radio, the days when music was really the thing and DJs helped make someone popular and famous and the music was the thing and all of that stuff. Huh.
Absolutely, yeah.
Easier to rise probably in those days when local radio was really intimate.
Yeah, if your song took off, and if the DJs really were in the driver's seat of those things back in the day, and so if your song took off, great things could happen, and
Yeah.
to win a Grammy Award for the best original jazz composition,
Mm-hmm.
that's just amazing.
Oh, wow, yeah, I can expect it from him. Such a cool guy. A little bit about how did he come into being the Peanuts
Well,
composer?
this is very interesting too because it was actually that song that introduced him to Lee Mendelson, who was the producer. And before the Charlie Brown Christmas, there was actually a documentary called A Boy Named Charlie Brown. And so Lee Mendelson was trying to find music for that documentary, and he heard the song "Cast Your Fate to the Wind" on the radio. He sought out Guaraldi, and then Guaraldi accepted the offer to compose the score to this documentary. Now, the documentary was never aired because they couldn't get a sponsor for it, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But the very next project was A Charlie Brown Christmas.
Yeah, the
And
Christmas
so,
special, right? Okay.
right, and that was just obviously that put everybody on the map. 1965, we've all seen it. I saw it, on airing on television around the Christmas season. And of
Yeah.
course the music is so enchanting. But he really and the trio, they really worked in everything that they needed to, even some kind of rock and roll type stuff for the kids when they're dancing. But of course, great songs. Christmas Time Is Here. The Linus and Lucy is iconic. Everybody knows that. And so it
It
was,
seems
yeah,
like there was just seems to be no hiccups, no failure, no mess, no bad songs. He just
yeah,
seemed to have that touch.
yeah. And the producers said, this it would not have been successful. We would not have gone, we would never have had the success without the music. The music was integral. It's memorable, and it would just really hit the right tone. So, really an amazing. It's like catching lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think the Peanuts would have been the Peanuts without this. It was just like a miracle in terms of being complimentary.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
I like him a lot, and so I read more about him and seen some documentaries. They showed a picture actually of where he lived in San Francisco,
Yeah,
and you'd think it was some funky bohemian setup. It wasn't. He lived on an ordinary suburban street.
Yeah.
where the houses are next to each other. In one of
Yeah.
these houses with some tricycles in the driveway,
Yeah.
married with 2 kids.
Hmm.
And they went down into his basement where he fashioned a studio and did his work.
Yeah.
And it was regular suburban living.
Yeah. Yeah. He was he lived simply. He wasn't kind of taken in by the grandeur of everything that he had done and achieved. He just wanted to play, And then as times changed, and rock and roll kind of began to take over a little bit. He embraced the electronic sound a little bit, with Hammond B3 organ, and then eventually, come synthesizers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then, but the recording kind of fell off, and he was fine with that. He just really wanted to. He turned his focus back onto live performance, and it was always able to get booked,
Yes. Uh-huh. And I
And
think there was a place that he played, a steakhouse or something in that North California suburbs
yeah,
area.
he had regular gigs there in San Francisco. He could have toured the world, but he liked being in that Northern California jazz scene.
Uh-huh.
And so he was at the local clubs in Mill Valley.
Mill Valley,
And
yeah.
so it's unfortunate his death. It's really sad because he actually had a booking uh, at the Butterfields nightclub in Menlo Park, California,
Uh-huh.
and he was able to play the first set, and he included an interpretation, his jazz interpretation of the Beatles' Eleanor Rigby.
Uh-huh.
And so he played the first set, and then he went back to his lodging. They was staying at the Red Cottage Inn to rest up a little bit before the set. The drummer was with him, and he had a massive heart attack.
Mm.
Vince Guaraldi had a mass heart attack, and then the drummer tried to revive him. They got him to the hospital at Stanford, but he arrived. He was pronounced dead on arrival that night, so he never played the second set.
Yeah.
So it's a romantic thing in some people's minds that he kind of almost died on the gig.
Right.
But the drummer was reflecting on that. He just said, I wish it hadn't happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, it was a great loss to the world.
Yes, exactly. And that all of that. I guess you must like him, and as much as I do, and as a musician yourself, all these details.
Yeah, and the main thing was the music. I mean, just his recordings. He had success in a broad way with "Cast Your Fate to the Wind" and all the music from all the Peanut specials.
Yeah.
And of course, all of that stuff sounds fantastic. But I go back to the early jazz. That's some of my favorite recordings that he did, his first and second albums.
Mm-hmm.
But he just all throughout his career, he was a brilliant technician. He was a fantastic composer, and his playing would always swing, and that's the main thing.
Did he influence you in your playing, in your performance?
Absolutely, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I listen to his lines, and I take what I can from them. I play upright bass, I sing, I play trombone. So the pianistic things don't come across, but the melodic lines and what he does in his solos are just really, really attractive lines. And they inspire me absolutely.
How is he, since I don't know that many music circles, how is he regarded among jazz players today, then and today? Of course, time passes, and I know about that, but
Yeah.
is he still, he was well regarded, and is he still?
Well regarded, and the thing is, even as much acclaim as he got in the day, he's not necessarily widely known. As I was telling you in the early part. I didn't really know who he was, and I had been listening to jazz, all my life at that point, So I had to have a friend introduce me. Once you know him, and once you understand his work, it's bound to have an influence on you. So he may not even be as widely recognized in jazz as he should be, but for those who know, he's an important figure.
Yeah, and then half the world knows the Peanuts, so they know him through the Peanuts.
Right, and then some of those people became aware of his jazz recordings and fell in love with them too. So it works both directions.
Yeah, and he's still alive because the Peanuts specials are still popular.
Yes, his music lives on.
Yeah. Okay, last question. Well, just in case people don't know, and you probably do, he was a hard living guy. I think they said that he skied hard and,
Hmm.
drank and ate and had a great time of it.
Yeah.
He was the typical artist that really indulges in the nice things in life. And so that may account for his early demise.
Yeah, he definitely lived life to his fullest. I read one. He actually he had consulted a doctor who kind of had a misdiagnosis for the persistent stomach issues that he had.
Oh, yeah.
So that's unfortunate. But he even on that trip, his last, he was skiing on that trip. Skiing on a mountain concert trip,
Yeah.
and so.
Hmm.
So there's no question, he lived life to the fullest, and
Yeah.
he could have gone on to do greater things and continues to do great things, but we're so fortunate to have the body of work that he left us.
Yeah, and as you say, it lives on in the Peanuts, and it is just absolutely, it's almost defined by these sort of lilting songs that are very sort of smushy, in a way, sentimental, and
Memorable, and they touch the heart.
yeah. Well, thanks so much for talking about Vince Guaraldi, especially from an expert like yourself. And the performance on Thursday is very nice, and I bet you're booked there for many years to come, just like Vince.
We do love playing there. It's the Purple Garlic on Blanco Road. There are two of them. We're at the one on Blanco Road. We play every Thursday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's music of Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole, Tony Bennett, Dean Martin, and your favorite jazz selections, whatever you ask for, we try to play. And it's the most fantastic jazz guitarist in town, Polly Harrison, and myself. Vocals, upright bass, and jazz guitar.
Well, wonderful, Dave. Thanks so much for your time today.
All right. Thank you, Barrett. I appreciate
Okay,
it.
okay, bye.